Good evening, TCI community. I am coming to you live from the car, and I needed to get this message out before it got too late. And I had been working on it for the last few days, but what's interesting is my message has changed. Last night, one of TCI's spiritual leaders and board members, she wrote an article, and if you haven't seen it, you should go on the web, on the Facebook page for TCI and actually read it. It is really an eye-opener, and especially for a person like me. And again, I'm sorry about all the lighting and how it's not perfect, and you know, the hat blocks the shadows and all that. I don't really care. If you can hear me, that's what matters. But here's what's interesting. She talked about kindness. Now, on Monday night, the message that we put out, when the message was discussing attitudes determine our altitude. So if you have a crappy attitude, you're going to stay in the crap down here with the mud and the crap and hang out with the swine. Or we can elevate our attitude to be up here, to be of royalty, to be of a person who is influential and a person who is in high demand. But we first have to have the attitude. And if our attitude is here, even though we're down in the mud, here's what happens. We raise ourselves. People see it, and people say, this guy's got talent. This gal's got talent. This person has talent. They're going to rise. They're going to rise. And then you eventually wake up and you're going, whoa, I'm now a statesman. When did that happen? Nobody saw that one coming. And so your attitude, right? And then she wrote this beautiful message, and that came out, and it's a great read about kindness. Kindness is an act that comes from your attitude. See, if your attitude is poor and you got a crappy attitude, well, then you're not going to be thinking kind thoughts. You're not going to be thinking how I can react to my wife in a kind way. Well, you're going to be crappy to her. You're going to treat her like crap, and vice versa to your husband. And so that's going to happen unless we take our attitude and elevate it. So we need to elevate our attitude so that we can then do things out of love and out of kindness. See, TCI's ministry is wrapped around love and kindness. Loving God with all our heart. Loving the divine, the divinity. And we don't spell that out in my way or your way or her way or his way or their way. God is God. And we'll talk about the different names of God in a message, because I've been getting a lot of emails, people asking me, then what's God's name? Is it Jehovah? Is it Allah? What is it? And so we're going to have I'm going to be putting some messages together on the name of God. But right now I want to follow this theme for the week. Our attitude determined our altitude. Our attitude was elevated, and by elevating our attitude, we're now doing things of kindness, because that's what love is. And TCI is nothing but love. And I laughed because when I read the article, I was like, kindness. Kindness to me, many decades ago, was that I only broke your kneecap with the baseball bat. Just one kneecap. Now that was kindness. I was showing you generosity. I left you with one good leg. You still can hobble to work and support your family and pay your debt. Now, I know that's horrible, and I'm not laughing. I'm laughing because God chose this guy, somebody who is violent in his past, who he said, now I want you to go lead this love revolution. What? You want me to lead a revolution of love? You're out of your mind. I just want to knock them down with love, right? I mean, the Bible does say lay hands on them suddenly. Yeah. No. See, we change our attitude, we change our altitude, we start doing acts of kindness. And it's not easy. I can't tell you details, but right now I'm going through some interesting obstacles, or as I like to refer to them, opportunities, because I don't see things as a problem. I see them as an opportunity. It's an opportunity to get stronger going through it. Maybe the outcome is not going to be the way you want. But as I go through this opportunity, it's not a physical fight, but it's a fight. Now, what's interesting is how I choose my attitude will determine the outcome. And so I can either have my outcome up high And raising my attitude raises my altitude. But if I lower my attitude to their level, to the fight, to your spouse, to your business partner, to your boss, to the president, to your senator, or whatever it is, if we elevate our attitude like theirs in a good way, then we're all working in that positive direction, then things take off. But when you're fighting it and you're going, now I'm going to follow their nasty attitudes and I'm going to be like them, and well, then all you're going to do is lower your altitude. The outcome, you're not going to say kind things. You're not going to do kind things. So you're going to say mean things. And then you're going to unfortunately reap that. See, life's taught us many beautiful lessons. I don't care what faith you come from. We all believe in a thing called sowing and reaping. You do it every year, or at least you partake in it every year. If you eat, which if you're human, you have to eat. And I don't care what diet you're on, it came from some sort of ground. Or it was some sort of an animal, which a seed from another animal went into another animal, which then created a baby. So it came from a seed. So a seed was sown, or it was a seed that fell from the tree that created the next apple tree, which had apples, and those apples have fed you. Either way, we have all seen the process of sowing and reaping. You put a good seed in, you'll get a good return on that seed each year, and you take and have a great harvest. Put bad seed in the ground, and you will find out. There is a seed that has a weed, and it's pretty interesting. If you plant that kind of a seed, only just one, not like 5,000 seeds of them, just one seed in the garden of that specific weed, and it will kill your entire garden. Bad seed can kill your whole garden. And then again, we're not able to be focusing on being kind. See, I didn't used to be kind. I was actually the opposite. I was that guy that people were scared of. And I mean, usually the guys who were the scary guys, they didn't like me. And it wasn't because I, just woke up one day and I was mean. It was something that happened from the age of 7 on. And it was pain and suffering and living through it and surviving and going through running a little drug empire and all of those horrible things. And they make it tougher and harder, and you got to figure out how to survive because you're a kid, but you're playing in a man's world, and you're literally just a teenage boy playing in a man's world. And I'm here to tell you that street world, man, that was a really dangerous place. And so it changed you into something because you allowed it, meaning I allowed it. And now God, the deity, has decided to switch roles over the last few decades and turn me into a man of love and peace. And that's hard to think about for me. To be kind, especially to my enemies. Wow. You know, the guy in the marketing firm I worked at many years ago, he ended up actually having an affair with one of my secretaries just so he could get her in bed to woo her and find out some stats on my numbers so he could try to look better. And it was a horrible plan he had, and it all went awry, and the affair came out. He lost his job. He lost his wife. He got a bad share of custody of the children and had to pay a bloody fortune. His whole world was thrown upside down, and it was because he was trying to, in essence, come at me, trying to hurt me, a person he didn't like, because he saw me as competition. Even though we were for the same company, we were just in different parts of the state. And so when I saw that as a young man, I thought to myself, wait a second, this guy came after me. And I'm all about that. Back in those days, you come after me, I'm going to bury you. And I'm going to put you down like the dog you are. Okay? Your company wants to come after me, I'm going to shut your company down. I'm going to run it out of business. I got friends in media. I've got news reporter friends, all kinds of people. You know, there's connections all over. So you want to come at me? Let's dance. But now I see that. And I saw, these are the kind of lessons I saw over my life. And I'm like, so if I sow the bad seed, if I go after that guy, that just comes back to hurt me. That guy was trying to hurt me, and all he ended up doing was hurting himself, his wife, his children, his whole world. It imploded. And that lesson came back when I read the spiritual leader lesson the previous night here. And that lesson was about kindness. And as Sierra was speaking those words, I remembered that lesson, and I'm sitting there going, gosh, you know, had he just been kind to me, I would have gladly shared how I was getting my numbers and how I was accomplishing in that. I would have said, hey, bud, let me help you out. Because at that time in my life, I was very open to doing that to people who were on the same team. And so it's interesting. I look at that lesson, and all these years later, it's helped me become a kinder person. And now I have a business deal that's created a lot of issues. And I mean, I could bring a company to its knees, but instead, I'm going to be kind. Now, some would even say there's an old saying, kill them with kindness. You know, there's actually a scripture that talks about if you're kind to someone, it's like taking heaping hot coals, meaning red hot fiery coals, and putting it right on their head. It burns. So in the beginning of my life, I took that very beautiful scripture and was like, oh yeah, so where's my enemies? All right, I'm going to be nice to you because it'll make you mad. I wasn't doing it for the right reason. Sure, it actually did make them mad. So I got my 2 cents in, right? No, I hurt myself because those people then sowed seed back to get me. And so it was a never-ending cycle of hatred. Hatred begets hatred. Like begets like. If you are a kind person, kind people are attracted to you. If you are a mean person, mean people are attracted to you. I had a mentor, Dr. John Maxwell, once tell me, we were at a private seminar down in San Diego at his church. And I say private, it was just a few businessmen in a little room. No television cameras, just a few guys. And he was talking about that. He said, one of the things you pastors hear a lot is people say, why is it I always have nasty people around me? And we all kind of laugh because we all know that person in our church. And they're like, Pastor, I just don't get it. I'm one of the nicest people you've ever met. I am so kind. Do you know what I do for my husband every night? Oh my gosh, I cook for him. Or then you get the guys like, well, you don't understand, Pastor. My wife, I am the kindest man you've ever met. I even tell her I love her every day. Like, hello? Yeah, that person. And they wonder why everyone around them is mean. So I realized if I have a lot of mean people around me, then 2 things have occurred. Either I'm really reaping some of those seeds I sowed early in my life, or maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I'm still mean. Maybe I'm still in that mindset of being selfish. Maybe I'm still not kind. I have to ask that question, because it could be that I'm just still reaping my harvest. I sowed a lot of bad seed. So maybe it's still coming. We call it karma, sowing seed, depending on which faith you were raised in. But it's all the same thing. You do good things come back. You do bad things come back. It's that simple. It's a simple process that the Creator shows us every year. It's fall right now. The leaves have changed or in the process of almost finishing, dying away. And now we'll have this beautiful winter. And for those that have snow, it's white and gorgeous. And then we go through that mud season, and then comes spring, and then the summer, and it's just the whole cycle every year. Back again, one time around that sun, right? And that process is teaching us things. So, do you want to sow a seed of kindness and see how that comes back to you? I've got so many precious people that are helping right now. TCI is in the process of trying to purchase a house right now. And we have the need for a house. And a couple of the directors of the ministry have decided to put their signatures on the line, myself included, and put up cash from our own reserves to go ahead and do that. But we might need help. So we have been sowing seeds of love and kindness to just sow them. But all of a sudden, people now are saying, well, we want to help. Can we donate $1,000? Can we help do that? Absolutely. But why is that coming back to us? See, if we would have been sowing kindness because we were thinking, let's sow this kindness so that someone's going to be kind to me. Again, that's not understanding the concept. It's doing the act of kindness with no expectation of anyone returning it and finding grace, pleasure, and enjoyment in just that feature. Well, I took that husband and wife to dinner, and I took their children and them and took them afterwards, and we went out and bought clothes for them and brought their whole summer wardrobe for the kids because we know they needed it. Now you do that with nothing in expectations. In other words, no expectations of receiving that same kind act to you. Nothing. But then watch what happens if you live a life like that. Then you start to see that coming back to you tenfold, 50-fold, 100-fold. Unfortunately, the church world and ministers that I don't think should even hold the title of a minister, what they tell you is, give me your money. And if you give me your money, oh, Jesus, let me tell you what's going to happen. I'm going to multiply it tenfold, 50-fold, 100-fold. I'm going to bless you, God says. First off, God doesn't need your money. Second off, God doesn't want your money. God doesn't need your money. And neither do we. Now, if you're blessed, if you have money, if you have resources, then please, if you believe in the cause that we're doing, get involved. But see, we started this process 25 years ago. It's a 25-year-old ministry that has continued to evolve, has continued to stay inclusive. The whole process, the whole time. And we have continued to fight this battle of love over exclusion. And I seen that. But see, here's the scripture I read when we talk about blessings 100-fold, 50-fold. It's about sowing goodness and doing kind acts. And God looks down and says, you didn't do that because of anything. You so deserve to be blessed. That's what people teach. But how about I go a step further? How about I say it's actually the way the universe was created, by the Creator? In other words, this is a season of sowing and reaping, and it's all around us. So just sow the seed of reaping, or sow the seed of joyfulness and kindness and love, and you'll reap that seed back. And it will come back to you 100-fold. You'll have great children, great stepchildren, great grandchildren, great daughter-in-laws, husbands, wives, mother-in-laws, churches, family, friends. You'll be so rich. You'll never be bored because you'll have invitations to be everywhere. Every Christmas party wants you at their place. Every function wants to have you at the center of it. That right there is your proof that all the years of telling people how much you love them, showing them how much you love them, and not caring about what their political beliefs are or their spiritual beliefs, but just loving them the way the Creator told us to. Now that will come back. And so that's us changing our attitudes to raise our altitude for no other reason than it's the right thing to do. And then, now we start sowing these seeds of kindness over here, like we learned from Sierra. And now, those acts of kindness were for nothing but, again, the right thing to do, for love. And so in doing so, we've then planted that seed. Flash forward. Now all of a sudden, things are happening for us. Promotions are coming. People are always around. Jobs are always available. Everything you've ever wanted is at the fingertips. And you're like, wow, I'm really lucky. God must love me. It's real simple. It's the process of sowing and reaping. And we can sow and reap a good attitude or a poor attitude, and we're still going to pay a price, either a good price or a bad price. So what's your choice? We talked about the attitude raising us. We talked about how the attitude of kindness is an act that comes from your attitude. So if you have the right attitude, then we're going to be thinking kindness and kind acts. So when that guy on the road cut me off today, I really meditated on what Sierra said. And I said, okay, I just got cut off. My normal reaction is to, punch my horn, let him know I'm right here. That's real smart. Maybe jump on my gas and jump right on his bumper and wail on the horn and flash the lights. Definitely can do that. Hopefully he pulls over because I can rip him out of his car and smash him to pieces. I'm really good at that. Or maybe I just wave and I say, I'm sorry, even though he cut me off. And he flips me off. And I say, you know what? I love you too. And I'm going to pray for you tonight. Now, if you know me, you know that is the hardest thing for me to do on this earth. Because I personally would have had to run him off the road, grab him out the window, and just knock him right in the jaw. Because I'm me. I'm flesh. I'm human. And I'm not without flaws. But the message from attitude to showing the kindness, the act of kindness, which comes from the proper attitude, allows us to reap goodness. So when people are coming after you in your business and in your marriage and in your families and in your everyday life, Love on them. Be nice to them. Be kind to them. You might be able to take them to court. And I'm not telling you not to take them to court. I promise you, if you come after me in a way that's illegal and you're harming the church or you're harming an organization that I'm involved in, I'm going to take you to court and I'm going to take care of the organization. But I'm talking about people are so quick to just try to sue everybody. We're so quick to just take everyone to court. We're so quick to just be mean, grab the knives, and cut the throats. Business is cutthroat. It is. There's no arguing that. It is very cutthroat. But it doesn't mean I have to cut your throat. And it doesn't mean I'm going to let you cut my throat. So you can be in business, in a cutthroat business, but you don't have to cut their throat. They don't have to cut yours. You can stop them from cutting yours. That's okay to defend yourself. But you don't have to react with the same. And in doing so, you watch. Your business will get the loans. Your community will rally behind you because they'll remember you're the person that shows love. There's one of the places that I drive to for work I have to go to a lot. And there's a man that every single week on the specific day, he sits there with a sign. And it's just a peace symbol. Let me see. I think I got one right on my arm somewhere. There we go. It's just a peace symbol, right? And that peace symbol, below it, it says honk for peace. Or no, wave for peace. And every week, when I would see him, I'd wave. And I thought to myself, wow, isn't that amazing? Attitudes are the same way in religion. You know, I'm a fourth generational preacher. That means that I'm a pastor, my daddy's a pastor, my granddaddy's a pastor, and behind him, my great-granddaddy's a pastor. So I've had 4 generations. I'm the 4th, 3 behind me. I have grew up in the church world and seen the manipulation and the evilness. I've seen it all through the Muslim Islamic world and the Quran, and I've seen it through the Bible, and I've seen it through the writings of the Buddha, and I've seen how teachers, how man and women, how we humans who are flawed write things to make you think that's what God says. All kinds of stuff we do to make you in our hands putty so that we can control you and move you where we need to move you. Make you believe what we need you to make you believe. A church grows through having babies. You need lots of babies. Just ask them. I'm not picking on the religion, but just ask the Mormons and the Catholics. My mom came from a Catholic family, and they all had 6 kids. That 6 was like your minimum. They preferred 6 to 12. Catholic Church, that's why they didn't want women to be on birth control. They wanted to breed their way to be in largest organizations. You look at the people who belong to the Brigham Young's organization. The same thing. So, if you allow people to be gay, to be who they are, that's not good for procreation, right? 2 women per se don't have a baby. That's what some groups would tell you. Their attitude is so selfish. It's all about themselves. How about we focus on just loving a person as they are? So you're gay. I love you. You were born gay, just like I was born straight. And you didn't choose to be gay, no more than I chose to be straight. And here's the beauty. If we can find a way to love everybody, I don't have to agree with my friends who are Muslim. I don't have to follow the Quran. I was raised in the Christian church. If I want to follow the Christ and the example of the Christ, that's perfectly fine. But my brother, my friend who is an imam, he follows Allah. But we both know one thing. No matter what God or what name he calls it or I call it, it's all the same God. Unfortunately, we as humans have tried to take our attitudes, stick them in the ground so that we can become nasty and bad and control you and not do acts of kindness. We say we do, but we don't really. It's destructive. And I've seen it happen over and over in the world. And so what we have to do is we have to focus on having our attitude in the right place so we take and do the right acts of kindness for the right reasons so that we can then go ahead and have that good seed sown so that we can bring that into the universe. And you birth more, by the way. Goodness and light brings more than what you sowed. Man, I have can't tell you how many times I've pulled over to fix a tire for somebody. More times than I can count. I never had a person fix one tire for me my whole life until I was in this one state. I had 2 flat tires in that state in a period of 5 years because I worked there a lot. And I literally had probably a dozen people pull over each time. Hey man, you need some help? No, I don't mind. They're taking off their jacket. They're getting their tools. I'm like, it's a tire. I got this. But I was surprised. My whole life, no one ever stopped to help me. And then all of a sudden, I got tons of it. Like, tons of help. Everyone wants to help. And I'm like, what is going on? Is there a sign on my head that says, help this guy? Probably. I'm sure a few of you out there think I need a lot of help. No. What it was is, again, you sow good seed from an act of kindness and love for the right reason. And it will elevate you to a level that you've never seen before. So I love you guys. God loves you. You know the drill. I'm going to kind of wrap it up a little early, but the thought I want to leave you with is stop trying to be so divisive. Let's stop pointing our fingers so much. And I know in some places we have to point. I get it. Instead, let's look inward and see what I'm doing wrong. See, I don't want to judge you. I really don't. Because if I judge you, I know what that's like. And I don't want that for me. So I'm not going to do it to you. And remember, TCI's 2 rules, if you will, the 2 laws that we live by is love the deity with all your heart, the creator, and love man just like you love yourself. Those were the things that the Christ taught. Those were his words. Not a disciple's, not a preacher, not a church doctrine. Those are the words of the Christ, the Anointed One. It's also the same words, ironically, in the Quran, and also in the writings of the Buddha and many other faiths. Interesting, isn't it, that they all say the same thing? To love God with all your heart, to treat man and love man as you love yourself. And that's what this week's messages were about. And they started with how we're going to raise our attitude and raise our altitude. We went into this beautiful acts of kindness. And today we're kind of tying all that in to learn about how our attitude and that reaping and sowing and how we do it and why we do those acts of kindness and love matter. It's not just doing a kind act. It's doing a kind act with the right attitude. And that mindset, that attitude, that mindset, they are a choice. Hear me. It is a choice to be kind. It is not that it's easy. Oh, Lord, is it not easy. I really do live by a principle of loving all people, including the people who are the most evil people I've ever met. People who can put just they're evil. Women, men, ex-family members, all kinds of people. I can tell you some evil things people have done, and I still have to say, I love you. God loves you. So do I. And it's not easy, but it's a choice. So choose today. Choose wisely in your attitude. Choose wisely in your actions to be kind for no more of a reason than it's the right thing to do. And see what happens. I love you guys. Take care. God bless. See you next week.